Step one, I have to tell you what good looks like, document that, and I get that 30 to 40% unlock, right? Now, the show, I'll give you an example. So remember before I said, Chef A, recipe, Chef B, make it tasty. You chose Chef A, right? So let's say, same Chef A with the recipe, Chef B, you have the recipe, and you have Gordon Ramsay cooking it in a video that walks you through how they do the recipe. Okay. Which chef are you going to choose?
Gordon Ramsay. One who's demonstrating.
The one who's demonstrating, right? They get the same recipe. There's still step-by-step instructions, but by having somebody actually do it, and you could see what good looks like, again, you're going to have more confidence in Chef B, right? Because they have that video example. So like that's what the show is. It's like we're modeling the behavior for them.
So can I ask you a question about that?
No. Yes.
Well, I'm going to anyway. So that seems to make very common sense, but probably easier said than done. So the question is like, what's the mistake people make when they're trying to demo or show? Like, how do you do that properly and effectively?
Yeah, the big mistake is, well, there's multiple mistakes. But the first thing is you have to make sure the tell is nailed first. That's why tell comes first. Because that makes it easy for you to demonstrate. Then I look at when I've seen examples of clients of mine that have maybe put together like a call library, right? Because I know it's common for organizations to use. They don't make it bite-sized enough, right? Let's think about the skill of discovery. That is a massive meta skill. There's 20 different things that go into running good discovery, right? So you have to chunk it down and make it bite-sized and make it as extremely specific as possible, okay? So going into how much this can help, because you might be thinking, if you're a leader watching this, or for the folks that have said like, well, if I document everything, what's the deal? So you all feel more confident in Chef B because they have the example. So they did another analysis. I bring out a lot of data, by the way, disclaimer, because if I'm going to teach anyone anything, I want to be anchored, not by my feeling. I want to be anchored in data. So there was a study done for people that were learning mathematics, actually. And what they looked at, I think it was like over 550 studies, don't quote me on that. And they showed what's the difference between someone who's given written instructions of how to do an equation versus the written instructions with a video of someone following the instructions, 20 to 30% difference. So let's think about this. We have a 30 to 40% acceleration of how fast someone learns a skill by just documenting what good looks like and doing it right. We had another 20 to potential 30% increase in skill acquisition and skill retention by giving that example of what that looks like.
Using all the senses. Reading, listening, watching.
Yeah, it's learning theory.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned like a mistake, right, to go back to this. So one of the big mistakes that a lot of leaders make when they're doing this is they feel like they have to be perfect when they're modeling it for their reps. So I'll tell you a story. I remember early in my career, I was going through a training and it was like objection handling or something. And they asked our sales leader to come up and role play in front of everybody. And to be candid, the leader like bombed. Like they didn't do that great.
I was about to say, who was it? Just give him a shout out, but now you better not.
No, a great leader. But they didn't do good. And in my mind, well, you might be thinking, oh, wow, that's terrible. But as a rep, I was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Like Neil got up there and failed in front of us.
Yeah.
That shows a lot of guts.
Yeah, for sure.
So think about this. If you're a leader, if I could see my leader as one to fail and not nail it, right? He did okay, but he didn't nail it.
Yeah.
If he does that, well, what's that going to do for me when I'm on a sales call? I'm going to feel like I have permission to play loose, right? For the sports folks, right? You know that term. You don't want to be tense. So that's going to give me permission to play loose, take risks, try to implement these things, and not feel like I have to be perfect, right? Because that's a big thing. Is like leaders, they're nervous to role play with the reps. And my big thing as a leader, when I was coming up, I always told my reps, I said, look, I'll never ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do first. And then, in fact, before I even ask you to do it, I'm going to role play with you, or I'm going to do it myself, and it's not going to be perfect. But so I'm going to model that behavior with it. And then what I found over time is it enables my reps to be more loose, because they're doing it reduces their what I call cognitive load, and that frees them up on the calls.